Right now, cancellation surveys, you absolutely need them. You need them because there are people who cancel that simply do not like the product. There are people that cancel just because they have too much. All these different reasons in between of why someone cancels. And I think knowing that is crucial to winning them back.
Welcome back to episode 2 of Retention and Subscription powered by Stay AI. Today, we're going to be talking about managing your life cycle of your retention program. And we're excited to kick off with maybe even just the topic of acquisition before we get into retention.
Yeah. Last thing that Pearson said was media buyers are responsible for making or breaking your subscription program. One of the things that we do at Avi, right? I personally have not been able to lead off our offers with subscription first, right? And the reason being is that the way that the company is right now, and it'll probably change months from now or whatever it is that I have to be profitable on the first order, okay? And the best way that I can do that is by increasing my AOV to afford a high enough CAC, right? The best way to get a high enough AOV is to sell more of the same product, right? So I have our collagen, I'm selling maybe a 3-month supply, a 6-month supply. So I'm definitely bringing forward that revenue. But the alternative to that is getting somebody to buy a 1-month supply on a subscription and have them stay longer than 3 months, longer than 6 months, year down the road. What are your thoughts on actually turning that model into something that is achievable? Because in my eyes, and I'm sure a lot of other media buyers' eyes, is you're probably going to run negative on the first order. And so how do you make that sustainable?
Well, I think, and yeah, I guess getting to the heart of this episode, right? It's about managing life cycles. And when we think about that, I mean, Gina likes to say that retention starts the second site visitors hit your site, right? And typically that's going to be the pop-up and other storytelling. But I think the same holds true here, where if we're thinking about it holistically, you've got your funnels and you're doing your offer. And in this case, you're talking about a high AOV bundle. I think just to, I guess, start there before I dovetail into some other topics, the thing that's important from my perspective is you don't have to do monthly. You don't have to do bi-monthly shipments. You can actually do the full bundle and ship quarterly. And so when you start to think about what's going to work for a business from an acquisition perspective, I think you start generally with contribution margin, right, of the program and how that's going to, ultimately make the company profitable. So when we're thinking about scenarios where you do want to have that bundle, I think there's a few different ways to approach it and still flow them into subscription. One is you hit on the heartstrings for kind of environmentally conscious consumers, right? So rather than buying 1 month supply at a time, you should actually buy 3. You should buy 3 canisters at once because we're going to cut down on shipping. It's going to reduce the carbon footprint. We're doing more for the environment. This is just like one angle, right? But
that's definitely why I do it.
Yeah, it's
the carbon footprint.
Whatever puts you to sleep at night.
but that's just one angle. And I think, what we've seen work well is if you're going to have an intro bundle offer, throw in some other freebie to get them on subscription on top of the offer. And I don't think there's anything wrong with running $100+ AOV bundle offer on a, say, $30, $40 price product that then still flows into subscription, even if it's more drawn out, right? But I think when we're talking about how the acquisition efforts kick off, proper lifecycle management, it's really getting away from the lazy aspect of the offers. And high AOV offer is obviously going to have a little bit more, it's going to take a little more work, right, to get someone over the finish line there. But I also think a critical piece to teeing up lifecycle management for subscribers is product education and the storytelling. So, you kind of have to go through a really tough period there of finding that messaging that's not just converting someone into a purchaser and a subscriber, but ultimately indoctrinating them about the product and then continue that messaging, that storytelling through their subsequent orders. So from my perspective, best practices for acquisition is probably having 2 to 3 offers or funnels running at once, separate from your PDP and your core site, 2 subscription offers, and really making sure that it's not just centered on a price angle where it is a deep discount or a starter kit that's heavily discounted or has a gift with purchase bundled into it, but really taking the time to understand the problem solution framework, if it is a functional product like Avi's catalog, or whatever else is really pushing someone to make the buying decision. I think when you see a best-in-class subscription program, when you're talking about acquisition through retention, you're seeing personas being developed by those teams that are product specific, that are demographic, psychographic specific, so that storytelling, top of funnel is changing to attract the right target customer, but also down funnel after, that first shipment, your messaging's also changing and you need to continue that storytelling.
So one thing that I've noticed, and by the way, that's genius. It's literally taking our current funnel and just applying a subscription to it, right? I think the one thing that I've struggled with is I feel like I'm able to convince somebody to buy 3 months or 6 months up front versus getting them to enroll into a subscription. Because the minute they see, oh, it's auto payment, I have to now be locked into something, I feel like that, I guess, turns somebody off from actually buying. Has there been any, I guess, unique ways to get people to feel a little bit more comfortable enrolling in something, especially if you're coming to the brand for the first time, right? You don't trust the brand enough to be like, you know what, here's my credit card, charge me every 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is.
Well, I think, something that we teased in the last episode was punch cards as a feature set. And I think it's really about explaining to people why they want to be part of that subscription program. So if they're already getting a special offer, right, because it's a discounted bundle or whatever it is that we're running separate from subscription, it's probably more messaging downstream what's actually going to happen at order 2 and order 3 and why they should be excited about it. So I think that's where like a punch card comes into play. And maybe there's that initial starter kit, but they're already seeing, oh, I'm excited about what's going to come down the pipeline on order 2, order 3, et cetera. Or, and you guys know this because you've done a great job of building community around Avi, or it comes down to that engagement, right? So, I mean, we, certainly I think been inspired by like what Brian Tate did with oats, where he's doing new innovation flavors, right, that get added to every subscription, and then people get to vote on them and give feedback. And you really want to be part of that community. So that's a nice mechanism. And again, it goes back to personas, right? So there's certain people that just care about the discount. That's not going to work, but you certainly have people that want to be engaged with the brand in that way, and that's actually valuable to them.
So I think the offer is the consensus of what can make or break a subscription program for the brand, right? I remember we had actually tested the difference between subscribe and save 15% and subscribe and save 20%. And we ended up seeing higher churn on the 20% because it was too deep of a discount. And the LTV was a lot lower. Right. So I think when it comes down to offering and kind of showcasing that on the landing page, I still kind of have my doubts. But I think what Pearson had mentioned is keep the offer, just translate everything into a subscription, even if it is a bundle. So aside from landing pages, where else can brands really optimize the experience for customers to actually opt into a subscription?
Yeah. I mean, I think in the cart is a huge one that people are sleeping on as well. Like, have you ever seen when you add a one-time product to the cart? I'm sure you guys have it for Avi, but then you'll see save X% or save X dollars, by switching to subscription. And it's just a button right within the smart cart that you hit and it flips the product into a subscription product. And that you kind of wouldn't believe the opt-in numbers we see from those. So there's a couple of different apps that you can use to power that, Rebuy being one of them. But that is just kind of like a no-brainer to have in your cart, is to have a subscription upsell. We're also working on something else pretty exciting. We're partnering with a couple of different apps to kind of make this happen. But so we talked about how you get somebody into the one-time purchase post-checkout. Can you, you see the post-checkout apps where you're adding, an extra, whatever it is, product, an extra whatever, and you have a couple different offers that it cycles through. But what about something post-checkout that says, did you want $5 back on your order? Switch to subscription.
Wow.
So that is something that we are working on right now with a couple different partners to see how to power that best for the customer and for the brands.
Wow. But that's almost in the life cycle of an entire customer then, like from the minute they see the offer, potentially buy, and then being reminded again. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think what's key there is so you're saying sometimes when you offer auto ship, somebody doesn't then want to convert, or it hurts conversion on the site, where this just protects you all the way through that.
Yeah.
And then right after you buy something, who doesn't want an extra $5 back or whatever the number is?
Especially if you have buyer's remorse and all of that. And then you get to start testing that, time that properly.
I already have the ideas running. And our offer, right, is it's you either buy 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month, right? And 40% of the people will buy 1 month, 40% will buy 3 month, and the rest will buy 6 month. Okay, the 3 month and the 6 month, they're cool for another 3-6 months. I don't have to worry about them, right? They're not going to come back anytime soon. The 1 month people, those are the people that one, I'm testing any upsell I possibly can post-purchase, right? Resell them the same product at a higher discount. The funnel that we're running has a 15 to 20% opt-in rate, right? We're saying, hey, you just got this. Typically, you need 60 to 90 days to see results. So grab one more so that you can actually see the results and get it at a discount. But now imagine you get 20%, even if it's 10%, forget it. 10 to 15% actually turn that into a subscription.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That I think changes the business
Yes.
overnight.
Yep. So I'll keep you posted. We'll let you beta test it
let me
before
beta
it's
test
out.
that.
Hopefully before
That's
even this episode
crazy.
comes out, it'll be
Brilliant.
live.
Wow. Wow, that's really cool. You look at the website or the landing page and whatnot, and every part is obviously real estate, right? And each part of the real estate serves its other purpose. So some is just to educate, some is there to get you to click through, some is there to make you purchase. I'm curious, like when you guys are even just thinking about creating new features and new products and just even improving Stay AI's abilities, you must also obviously like for you to even come up with something that, hey, on the post purchase we should offer something back, right? You must be seeing certain data points that's alluding to the fact that, hey, this is a pain point, right? And like, let's build something to solve this pain point. I'd love if you can even just touch like, what are some of those like pain points that we're not thinking about as brand founders or operators that are actually there for on the customer side. And I'd love to see like, or at least understand what are some of those things that are not as common.
One of the pain points, and so to go to cancellation reasons, one of the highest reasons is I have too much product. Sometimes that's because somebody isn't using it. I think as brands, everyone just defaults to a month subscription. I mean, this even came up in the first episode where you were like, oh, well, it's a month subscription. It doesn't have to be a month subscription. It can be any amount of days, weeks, or months that you want it to be.
Subscription is synonymous to month, though.
I know. And like, there's all these people out there that are like, oh, well, if you do it every 30 days instead of a month, you get like one extra order in the year. Like, focus on what is the consumption of the product. Yeah. So I've seen like dog food companies do this really well, where in their buy box, they'll ask like, like how much does your dog weigh? Like how often, whatever. And then it puts you in like a smart cadence and pack size where I have been fighting to find a way to productize it. I think it's just so different for every brand. It's a little bit hard for us to do these like smart buy boxes. Yeah. But you can have different cadences for different products on your site. If you have something that is just truly a larger size that you think is going to take 2-3 months to go through, set the default cadence to that. It will cut down on churn. Don't think about like the quick win of, well, someone will get rebuild again in 30 days. Like nobody wants all of these huge containers.
Part of that though, the issue is as operators again, or as brand founders or not, you're not ready to accept that people are not going to turn your product into a routine. Okay. And I think it's a mental thing, right? It's like, I'm not ready to accept that you're not going to buy this 30 serve collagen and not take it every single day, including the days you're hungover on a Sunday. Like you're gonna wake up and take collagen and that is the only thing you're gonna do, right? And so then on the 31st day when you're gonna run out, we're gonna be there, right? And the truth is like, obviously data will tell you when people do repurchase and take that median or take that mode and figure out like, where you should be. But like, it's also weird to be like, all right, well, typically people take 42 days to buy our collagen, right? Now, is that like, should we, get creative and be like, hey, every 42 days we'll send you a collagen because average consumers are taking collagen 5 to 6 times a week. And, and this is where you're like, I'm curious on like, if you've seen the dog food examples is super creative, but I think you're getting to the fact that it doesn't need to be a month. What are some of the break points that you've seen that have been?
It doesn't have to be a month. And I think also it's just important to give your customers options. So we have a lot of brands that like they default, to a month, but then once you become a subscriber, you're able to toggle and say like, oh, I actually want to switch my cadence to 45 days, or I want to switch my cadence to 60 days, or I want to. And make sure when somebody is writing into same thing on the cancellation surveys, make sure I have too much. Do you want to skip or pause this month? Do you want to change your cadence? Make sure that those are options you're giving people.
Yep.
Also, when people write into CX, hey, cancel this, just give that optionality.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
That's smart.
I think even like setting up a flow just through your ESP, just, maybe halfway through the month, just checking in, be like, how much product do you have left? Do you think you're going to finish within a certain time? Do you want to change the date? Whatever it is. I think with all the tools that you do have, right? I think a lot of brands think that less communication is better because there's a less chance that they churn and this and that. But you have the tools to help reduce that churn.
Yep.
So you might as well communicate openly and say, hey, like your subscription is coming up. You're probably not done yet. Change the date.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we have a free gift coming for you when you do.
Yep.
So I think layering all these tools together and having the most optimal time to receive a product for them to be using it
That's right.
in the way that they want to, it's game changing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think we're kind of getting out of this era of do not talk to the subscribers. Like once somebody subscribes, don't ever speak to them again. Like just pray they don't cancel.
Yeah.
I think we finally are training the behavior out of that of like, hey, the brands that are crushing subscription, they're not doing that. They're not doing the tricky, like we're done with the $0 trial product that flips into a $100 subscription and charges you 7 days later. We're not doing that anymore. We are doing like, hey, this is what works for you. We're building really, really sustainable businesses with that reoccurring revenue that is sticky.
Is there examples? And again, we're talking about managing Lifecycle here. And I think sometimes part of managing Lifecycle is also being aware of your product, right? And like I think there's a couple of things. One, some products are just not meant to be on subscription.
Fair.
But two, if there's a product that's meant to be on subscription, but the subscription numbers are telling you that your product's not good, right? Have you come across examples like that? And how do you deal with that from a, product service offering to telling a brand like, hey, this isn't tool related. This isn't even offer or programming related. The product is not working to stay as a high LTV subscription product.
I have a really great case study from Retention Engine about this. So there was a coffee company, 2 SKUs, light roast, dark roast. They realized that they had really high churn. I don't like the taste, but just on on the light roast. And it was so bad that they were like, but some people loved it. It was just one of those like very polarizing flavors. So what they did was after they got all that feedback, anytime somebody would buy light roast, they got a sample kit of the dark roast. And they made it super clear in the portal. Subscribe to light roast, you want to switch, like we have a softer SKU. It changed the cancel. Like people swapped immediately because they liked what the company was about. There was some type of like functional coffee. They liked the other things, but the light roast, some people who thought, oh, I like strong coffee, like I'm a light roast person. It just was really for the extreme end of it, not for the typical coffee drinker. So I think them diving into those cancellation metrics, understanding that churn on the I don't like the flavor was just for that SKU.
Yeah.
And then proactively giving a sample in everybody who buys it, huge. It's a great example of listening to your data and then doing something actionable.
That's amazing.
So one feature that I really love about Stay, and I think other brands like Olipop are utilizing this in the best way possible, is within the portal itself, right? Before, it used to be just this kind of like branding-less area where it's just like, oh, cancel, swap, pause, whatever, right? I think now it's our portal actually looks like it's a part of Avi's website, right? And we talked about how Olipop on the last episode, they leverage a lot of their new popular releases. They have the main banner there, so if they want to add it to their subscription, for one time, they could do that. Even with our portal, we highlight some of the new products that are coming so that they can also add it to their subscription. If people are hanging out in the portal, right? I think you guys have done a really good job at making that a place that's optimized for conversion.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
I think so. Stepping back prior to Stay, Lunar Solar, we'd done over 100 like subscription portal implementations for brands on other providers, where if you wanted a portal that looked like it was part of your site and like was your branding and had any type of anything in it, I mean, you're spending anywhere from like $8 to $15K.
That's crazy.
To build that out. Where when we built Stay, I was like, we need a good out of the box portal. We need a no code portal that we take the best templates we've had, the highest performing, and we just make that the standard. Yep. You don't have to pay extra for us to add cross sells into it and whatever. And so you just have it. So our portal, the way that it's laid out, you go into it, you clearly have like your next shipment date, the ability to get it now if you need it in a rush. And then you're going to go through like a cross-sell carousel, where that's going to allow you to highlight other products. They're going to rotate through so someone can see what else you have. We talked about hero products a lot, how sometimes somebody comes in, they're subscribed to one product, and then they never try any of your other products because they're a subscriber. Why would they come back to the website? So you've got the cross-sell carousel. Then you have, optional to do banner ads in there. Something that I really focus on is that the portal should not be a place for just negative actions. And prior to Stay, really all that anybody ever went to the portal for was to cancel or pause or skip their subscription. With Stay, I was like, I want to make sure that if brands are really power using it, if they're optimizing it and they take the amount of like logins or the actions taken in the portal, like what is the positive versus negative? It's actually something that our Stay CSMs measure in our QBRs. And they'll go to brands and say 30% of your customer portal interactions are positive, where we need to get this up closer to 50%. And we have brands that are pacing above that. They have 60% positive interactions in the customer portal, which is nuts. They're driving traffic into there. And I think that's the concern is people are like, oh, well, if you send somebody in there, like they're going to cancel. No, they come in there, they're like, oh, I get, special offers on all of these other things. You have this brand new product that's out. I get early access. I want to try this. And then they can load up their subscription.
So for us, right, we have our collagen burn, right? Weight loss infused, collagen infused fat burner. We have like 4 other SKUs that are very complementary to that. We have such a tough time getting them back to the site to actually educate them on those, right? So whether it's email, SMS, these guys are probably going to get back into that portal at some point to make changes to their account. Why not highlight these products that they could get involved in? So I think
another great thing for that, I know like you're trying to get them back on the site, but sending an email with a quick action link in it. So saying, hey, you're subscribed to this product, like add this for X amount. And you can do like these limited time offers, which I've seen brands do, is like, hey, this week only, add this product to your subscription for X amount. And you can do it as just a one-time product that's added to their subscription once. But you can toy around with that stuff and then start to stack it. I had a brand that was doing a quarterly subscription, but like almost every other week, they were sending emails with these quick action links of like, oh, add this to your upcoming order for $5. Add this to your upcoming order for $7. Add this to your upcoming order for $2. Really smart. And jacking up. Because people, they would just be like, oh yeah, I'll add this to my upcoming order. And it was a cheaper subscription. So the subscription AOV for the product that was on subscription was like $10, but their AOV actually had gotten up to like $20 because they were getting people to just add these additional add-ons throughout the quarter or whatever it was.
Wow. We're talking about like this, zoom out on a little bit on the Lifecycle piece. So you talked about the acquisition part. You're talking about retaining and what magic the portal can do. Then you have this cohort of customers that, went through that journey, at some moment in time found out that they're no longer want to do this, right? And the breakup, yes. They decided not to stay, and I think that bucket now goes to win back, right? And like we've all become trained to like acquisition, retention, win back, churn, like these like power words, but then within each, there's this entirely, it has its own entire strategy, right? So like, I'd love to like peel on win back because I'm sure so many of our listeners, like as much as acquisition's an issue and retention is, where we all have the largest pool of people are the people who we consider it and hope. The only thing that ties us to that part of the list is hope. And that hope is that we can win them back.
Yep.
I'd love to like dive into like strategies you've seen with some other brands, what you guys are doing there to power that, and how do you really win back these people?
Yeah, this is so top of mind for me. I was on a product call on my way over here today, and the last pitch, so basically like you have at a tech company, you have a bunch of product managers, and they all kind of like pitch like the different things they're working on. They try to get them slated into the roadmap, and the last pitch was from our friend Ashley, was on this like enhanced win back engine. I can talk about what we have today and what you can put in
Shout
place.
Out Ashley.
And then maybe tease a bit of what she was pitching today for a potential Q3 launch. But what like right now, cancellation surveys, you absolutely need them. You need them because there are people who cancel that simply do not like the product. There are people that cancel just because they have too much. There are people who cancel because they can't afford it right now. And all these different reasons in between of why someone cancels. And I think knowing that is crucial to winning them back. So in your ESP, it's connected to stay, and then do what somebody has done, canceled, wait X amount of days, and then look at the cancellation reason. Have 2 or 3 different win back flows based on the cancellation reason. So again, somebody canceled because they don't like the flavor versus I can't afford this right now. Those are 2 very different win back efforts. Or just I have too much. That's just reminding them to come back and resubscribe with some type of offer in 60 days from now, or whatever the cadence makes sense. You might have to bother them 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, depending on how much product they have. So I think like making sure that you have some tailored win-back flows in your ESP, SMS, whatever makes sense, that is like the tables. Like you need to just do that. It'll take you not that long to set up. You just clone the email, switch out what the content block is, and that's it for the different cancellation reasons.
How are you guys making it easy to, I guess, activate some of those campaigns, right? So for example, if I have too much, I'm going to wait 30, 60, 90 days, right? Are there, I guess, mechanisms that you guys have implemented where they could just be like, yeah, I'm ready now, and it'll just come?
Yeah. So like I talk a lot about these quick actions and like why they should be in these win back, because we have like reactivate, like with a discount, we have get it now. We have all of these different things that you can send in emails, and people, again, who are really, really power using, like within your ESP, you can do different like conditional blocks. Even if you send a newsletter out, you can show a block that's just if somebody is an active subscriber that says like, get my subscription now, like right at the top or right at the bottom or wherever in the email that it makes sense. And if you're like, hey, somebody's getting this email, it's about all the product benefits, and you know they're a subscriber, put in a conditional block that lets them do that. There's all different ways that you can kind of like activate and like optimize your email program around your subscribers.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really good. I probably bring up something that like has nothing to do with Lifecycle, but I've always been curious, right? You think about the world of like what we all subscribe to. Okay, there's probably a few products, maybe some vitamins, maybe some just health related stuff. And then there may be your favorite drink or maybe your favorite snack or whatever it may be. And then there's this world of like content subscription, right? And we think about the Netflix of the world and Disney Plus and all the different things that we're all subscribed to. I'm really curious, like, have you, and this is me just more so exploring outside of what we are typically used to in a subscription, but how has content powered the idea of subscription for CPG and brands like us? Because I think this is maybe one place we don't do enough, which is like educate people enough on why they need to subscribe through content instead of just telling them on the product page or this or that, because that's like the typical fashions. Right. So I'm really curious if you have some good examples on like, it's really easy to subscribe to content related stuff because we're always looking at new content. So can content also power, CPG brands and subscription on that?
Yeah. So 2 different things. There's content subscriptions like a Netflix, whatever, that obviously Stay doesn't work with, but there are some other providers that, kind of help power that, because you got to like cut off access at a certain time and keep access, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then there is like actual content that you send out to educate people about your products and the benefits of subscription. I think so much in the supplement space is about consistency.
Yeah. Right.
And like somebody takes collagen once a week when they're feeling it, sometimes twice. It's not really going to do anything ever. Oh. It's like, Ron, I'm a big red light mask person. I have to use that red light mask. Ron does not like my red light mask. You have to use it over and over and over and over again to see any results. And I think that hitting people with that education of this is what you should be seeing, and if there's anything you can get people to like kind of breadcrumb them along is like, hey, a week in, you don't feel it, but this is what's happening. 30 days in, even if you don't see it, this is what's happening. I mean, they say it with weight loss all the time. Like the first 1 to 2 pounds, nobody notices. Like after 5 pounds, maybe your closest, like your partner might notice. It takes 10 to 15 pounds for like your immediate circle of friends to notice and or whatever. I'm probably messing up
Yeah,
the
no,
numbers.
I think that I've heard that exact thing.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where with a lot of these supplements, it's like you don't look in the mirror after taking a supplement for a week and be like, wow, like I see it.
Yep.
So you have to like, sometimes that education I think is a great way to approach it, of like letting people know what's actually going on, even though they don't see it.
And is there anything that you've seen as an example from other brands where like they've had where you've done like the in between the buyer's remorse, right? Come also like, damn, you didn't subscribe remorse, right? And like, I feel like that's another area that's missing because it all just buckets into email and flows. But like, I feel like there are people who will buy something, and subscription's also almost a way to commit. Okay, so especially in our category,
Holds accountability.
Right, holds accountability. Have you seen any cool brands or examples that you like have where people have done a good job bridging that part too, or just any advice you have where, you know, if you can nail that piece too, even if you don't get them on the first order subscription, you can now start to train their mind almost immediately.
Yep. I think another a good tip, I think something underrated is, what is the subject line of your upcoming order email? I have a supplement, a daily vitamin I'm subscribed to. And I think like it's like building healthy habits, or like, you know what I mean? Like you're closer, like whatever that catchy subject line is, every time I see it, I'm like, I'm gonna take my vitamin in 4 days. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do I need it? No, but like I need to get back on this track. Like I need to remember to take my vitamin every day. And that you have, like legally, you have to send an upcoming order email. Don't say we're about to charge your card in the subject line. Say something about building a healthy habit, building a good routine. Like you're this much closer to XYZ. Right. Yeah. And I think that does help build accountability. Also a little bit of shame, because again, I get that email sometimes and I'm like, oh, I should skip because I didn't take my vitamin. But you know what? Like, I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to start fresh.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to be accountable. If I pay for it, I will use it.
Exactly. 100%. I'm like that with my ritual. Mm-hmm. So that's even if you have like 12 pills left, you're like, you know what? We're starting fresh.
Yeah. You're
bottle,
like, you know what?
fresh.
We're going to do it. So I think that, and I think that's fine to tease in the marketing. Have a couple left, like don't delay, start fresh, like all of that. Like, that's a great point. You'll keep Ron and I. Ron and I will be subscribed forever, because the guilt will keep us. Even if we've stopped taking it for months, we'll be like, this is the month.
Yep.
We're going to restart.
Absolutely.
I think for me, it might be the free gifts.
Yeah, you've like completely given up on the vitamin. You're like, they've sent me stickers, a tote bag. He's like all swagged out in the hat. Like,
oh, you see it? Nah.
Nope.
You give this guy a crew neck, he's keeping any
the
product.
The duffel bag. He doesn't even go to the gym anymore, but he's got the gym bag.
I got everything.
Oh man.
If you stay on for one more month, I'm there, baby.
Sorry, I'm firing so many questions. I'm so intrigued on the Lifecycle part of like also the cross collaboration of different tools, right? So you have your email provider, you have SMS, and then you have where subscription sits. Then you're probably maybe powered by Shopify, and then you have maybe some other key tools, whether you're using direct mail with Postpilot or somebody or whatever it is. I think when you look at kind of all the different tools that communicate to the customer, right? That's really what all these tools are at the end of the day doing. Where do you feel like, you know, do you believe there is one tool that's become more powerful than the other when it comes to email versus SMS, in terms of getting that down funnel subscriber, or one tool being more stronger to keep a customer versus another? And how do you kind of look at email, SMS sitting between subscription?
I think it honestly is really brand dependent, because it's where you've built your audience. Like honestly, for you guys, putting something in the Facebook group might hit better than sending an email about it. Yeah. So it's super dependent on the brand. Like obviously there are exceptions to every rule. I do think email and SMS are great channels to reach out to your subscribers about things. And I also think like getting people to engage via those channels, is it going to be 100% commit rate? No. Even if it's 1%, a lot of that behavior is trained. And that's what I've noticed with some of these top brands. I think like we reference them a lot, but they just have done a really good job. Olipop really taught me that like the first time they sent a quick action, you know what I mean? Like it got X amount. Yeah. The 17th time, the engagement, like they've trained the customer to expect these things. They've trained them to, you know, like to take action on the emails. And I've seen some cool stuff in the past where people use SMS and they let people reply like with keywords to like, you know, do you want this or that? Like, you know, like which flavor are you more interested in? We're between like these two things, and people reply the flavor name. And then they feel like they're part of the mix.
Yep.
I just think that that's important. It's all community building. So it just depends what is the platform that makes the most sense for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of brands that do like the free sample funnel, right?
Not as many anymore.
Really interesting.
I think it's people have wised up to it.
Well, no, not the. Well, so I was gonna ask because like, do you guys have the feature where if, say, I get somebody in on a free trial, like they try 4 flavors, you send a text and be like, all right, what's the full flavor that you want?
Okay. So if somebody like, yeah, we can do a trial like where it's better when you're doing the 4 flavors and it's not like unpaid. I think what I was alluding to, we're not seeing it too much anymore, is like free trial into $100 subscription.
You're getting charged.
No, I was going off your point of
like so doing a variety
respond,
pack, some type of variety pack, having them respond and flipping it in. No, but that's a fun one, like a keyword to trigger a workflow or something that actually would not be really hard to build out with some of the SMS providers. The way that they get like, if keyword
Katrina's
response,
she's about to build a product.
I'm like, it's like in my head right now. I'm like, actually,
I've been telling you about this.
I could do this.
when we had the free samples, because we would give out 4 flavors.
Right.
Like, here, do you want the free the full tub of cocoa? Text cocoa.
Yep.
And then
She was building the dashboard.
I was a little busy on the dashboard and the cancellation surveys and the layering the AI in and scoping the features for Q2. But now I've got tons of space.
Q4
like now, like I'm
2025.
I'm like my poor product team. They're gonna walk in and pitch me all of their ideas for the rest of the year. And I'm like, all right, actually, so I got it.
We have a special guest today.
You guys can all take the week off. Actually, you know what? You're not gonna take the week off.
I went to Newark, New Jersey, and I got a new product idea.
No, because it's true. And something else that we've noticed, like to that point, variety packs typically have the highest unsubscribe because you're giving somebody so many flavors, and a lot of times they don't want they want to pick and choose. So just making sure that like you are allowing people to swap. A lot of times we do see it go into a swap, but variety pack gateway in, and then you gotta train that audience to swap.
Yeah, I think that whole behavior becomes a lot easier when you do have the tools to get them into that, right? So whether it's like email where it's like, all right, cool, pick the flavor that you want. Boom. Wow, there we go.
No. I have something. Wait, I do have something. We can do it via email, at least, or I guess we can send the links. So I have swap product. You mean like swap from this product to that product. Yeah. So you could do like within like you would say click this to swap to blueberries, click this to swap to whatever, and it would take variety pack to blueberry with a quick action. So actually we can do it that way.
You heard it here first.
There's always a workaround.
That's awesome.
A lot of tactical stuff we spoke about today. What's one thing that you want viewers and listeners to take back and try and implement into their subscription program if their platform allows them, and if you're not, stay. But what's that one takeaway?
Optimize your cancellation surveys. Learn things from them. Do not set it and forget it. Go back. If other is more than 30% of the responses, read it and update the survey, and then find out what you can do to better optimize that, because that is a gold mine. You should be able to get your save rates to 20 to 30%.
Chew on that.
If you want more from us, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and check out the website chewonthis.io.